All right, Ms. Hill. So we have recorded the lesson and we have both looked at the lesson. Actually, I was in here recording, watching it while it was happening. So in your opinion, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst lesson you've taught and 10 being the best, how would you rank that lesson?
I would probably rank that lesson at a 6.
Okay. Okay, so what pleased you about the lesson?
Well, I was very pleased by one of the students who was really engaged and responded to the questions that were being asked of them.
Okay. And what would have to change so that you can move the lesson closer to a 10? You're saying you're at a 6 now. What is it that kept it from being a 10, or what could you change to get it to be a 10?
Okay, I think that what I would do next time is have my questions made specifically to each student. That way I could get more engagement from the class as a whole instead of just having one student respond to all of the questions.
So what you're saying is that you would ask each individual student questions?
Yes.
As opposed to leaving it open for anybody to answer?
Yes, that's
Okay.
exactly what I'm saying.
Okay. And what would your students be doing differently if your class was a 10? How would they look different than they did in the video?
I think also they would probably be working as a team, maybe partnering up with someone and having dialogue with each other as far as what words should be capitalized and why. Being able to answer those questions amongst each other.
Okay. So we're talking together in smaller groups.
Right, yes.
And discussing the lesson, the assignment that they are working on.
Right, and actually being able to tell what each rule, and apply the rules to whatever assignment or task that they have. Being able to say, okay, well, the rule for this capitalization is that it is a proper noun, so therefore this should be capitalized.
Gotcha.
Okay, so yeah, I think
so you want them to be able to verbalize and say it like that.
Yes,
yes. Okay, so tell me more about what this would look like. So you're saying that they're in groups and they're discussing the rules and they're saying to each other what rule to apply when?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And also what should have happened earlier was that each student was supposed to get a cheat sheet. And that cheat sheet was supposed to have the editing marks on the sheet. It also had examples on words that should be capitalized in a sentence. And I think that also would have created some more dialogue between me and the students. So again, just making sure that they have what they need to be able to be a part of the lesson. To be able to be engaged in a lesson.
Okay, so I hear you talking about dialogue. Okay, so how could we measure that change? Like, what would we be looking at specifically to see if the change has happened? How would we measure?
That would first be by what we hear. With their dialogue, during their dialogue amongst each other, also by how they're completing the assignment, the worksheet that they've been given. How are you completing this? What type of corrections are you making? And as a teacher, being able to move around to each team and just to make sure, to ensure that they're actually making those changes, on their worksheet that's necessary.
Okay, so we would go by what we're hearing, like you're talking about the dialogue, if that's occurring during class.
Yes, observation.
And then you're saying the final product of their lesson, the work that they're doing, the student work samples basically.
Yes.
Could show that they actually understood.
Yes.
Okay. Okay then. And would you want that to be your goal?
Yes. My plan is for next class is to be able to have everything, to be able to ensure that the students have what they need to be successful. Because part of the success criteria was for them to be able to say, this is what you capitalize in a sentence. So again, for them to be successful, they need to have all of the necessary resources to do that.
Okay, so that's kind of measuring what you do, though.
Okay.
So if we're measuring, so that's something that being prepared, we know it doesn't always happen because copy machine is down as we speak, but being prepared, that's something that will involve your behavior more so than the students.
Right.
So what would you want to see within the students to be different?
I would like to see them engaged.
Okay.
To be actively engaged. To be actively, yes, to be participating and trying to understand what the lesson is about.
Okay. So being prepared, getting them to be more engaged. So you got two things going on, kind of like making sure that you have the right lesson materials that they need, the right resources they need, so that they can be more successful. But then you also, once that's done, you want to see the engagement increase.
Correct.
So maybe we can kind of, in a way, focus on both. But we have to put it into words what exactly that goal is.
Okay.
And let me give you some help. We need to have a goal that is, I'm here in my book because I'm still a student. We'll make sure that it's powerful. That makes a big difference. Easy, something that's simple, clear, easy to understand. Emotionally compelling. It has to matter to you. Reachable, so it identifies a measurable outcome and strategy, and student focused. So it has to address student achievement, behavior, or attitude outcomes.
Okay.
So that's to help give you some guidance as to how we could put this goal and how to structure how we say it. So I think both of those things will be powerful. The resources you present, the way you present them is powerful. And then it's student focused when we're saying that they're engaged.
Right.
So let's focus on something that's then easy. Maybe that's the one.
Right.
We want something that's reachable as well. So something that we can measure. Student engagement is measurable. I think we've had that goal before here at school. One of those goals in Whetstone, the GROW thing.
Right.
They've had like a certain percentage of the kids being engaged.
Right.
Yeah, and then there are different levels of engagement too. You have, let the bell ring. You have students that are being non-compliant, which we don't want that happening. You have students being compliant, but not really engaged. And then you have students that are fully engaged, really into the lesson.
Right.
So I think that's all the levels. But yeah, so engagement, we can measure that. We can look at that and measure it.
Because
also,
what would that look like, or when in measuring that, does that mean that we would look at the number of students that are being engaged at that specific time?
Yeah, like we could talk about a percentage of the kids. So let's say there were like 5 kids in a class.
Right.
If 4 of them are actively engaged, that's 80%.
Right, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one way to do it.
Okay.
But then again, we could also, I don't know if this is wrong to have more than one goal, but you were talking about materials. Is there anything you want to, there are things you want to shift in the lesson that what you do in order to improve it? You want to do that simultaneously? Do you think like one thing is going to help the engagement?
I do, and that's why having those resources would make it easier for the other students. Some again can be actively engaged because the material doesn't come; it comes rather easy. But we want it easy for all
Everybody,
of them.
yeah.
You know, we want each and every student to have the opportunity to be a part of the lesson. So, and I think for them, having the resources will definitely make it easy for them.
Got you. So, I'm sorry, Professor. People are coming in and out. We had to pick a room, but we don't have the room all to ourselves. Okay, so the goal we're going to focus on then is getting the resources or some type of instructional strategy that's going to increase student engagement.
Exactly.
Okay. And is there a particular strategy that you want? I know you're saying the resources, but so is that modeling? Is that what? Is there a particular strategy that you can use to hit that goal?
Well, the resource that I had created for them was where they had the examples of what it looks like when your sentence structure you're not using the correct grammar conventions. I mean, well, not the writing conventions by having the capital letters versus this is what it looks like. So just so for them could see.
Hold on, I'm gonna have to pause.